This is T-Boz from TLC. You're listening to the X and Y Show. Hope you enjoy.
The opinions expressed on the X and Y Show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings. Welcome to another segment of the XY Show. I'm your host, Roosevelt. Well, welcome to another week of the XY Show. It is July. Might as well say it's mid-July. So we have July, then August, then we're in the birth months. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Can you believe it? We're almost in the birth months. September, October, November, December. For those of you who have been listening to the XY Show for a long time, you know how I feel about the birth months. You know, it's my favorite time of the year, the fall/winter. Winter being my favorite season, but fall and transitioning into winter, this is my favorite. That's my favorite time of the year, the birth months. Obvious reasons. The weather gets cooler. Christmas, it's a wonderful time of year, and we're almost there. July. I would say July's gone. It's already the 14th, 15th. July's gone. And then we got August, and then damn, we in the birth month. I can't believe that. Woo! Oh my Lord. Condolences to Shannon Doherty, the families of Shannon Doherty and Richard Simmons. I don't know those people, but Richard Simmons, I think Richard is the first name. Damn, forgetting everybody's name. He's been around for a long time. Since I was a little boy, I knew about him. His television shows and, he's been on a lot of stuff. And those things that always been there, and all of a sudden you lose them. It's like, damn, him, he gone, she's gone. Shannon Doherty is a 90210 and I know she was sick a long time, but I don't know those people, and I'm not one of those that worship celebrities. But it's just one of those things where, someone has been around for so long. Richard Simmons has been there. I'm telling you, since I was a little boy, I remember him, being a little shorty in the fourth grade and third grade, seeing him on TV and the Love Boat, all kind of stuff that he was a part of for a long time, and now he's gone. And I notice a lot of people are just leaving this place every day. Every time I open the internet and I see a picture of somebody, it's like, damn, should I click on it? And sure enough, I clicked on it, and dies at 49, dies at 28, dies at 60, and all these people leaving this place. And I'm not going to even lie to you. It makes me wonder, It makes you think about, a lot of things. Life, life is not promised. You're not promised to make it to your old. My mom just turned 90 years old this year. It'd be nice to make it that old, but it's not promised. People are leaving this place. I had a neighbor down the street who's gone. She's the age of my sister. And her sister died before, like a month before. So I say that to say this, people are leaving this place. So if you're mad at someone, it's probably over some bullshit. Make up with people while they're here, not waiting till they're gone and buying all these expensive flowers, and saying all these nice words at their funeral. They can't hear you. They can't see your flowers. It's too late. A lot of you motherfuckers out there don't get along with your sister, don't get along with your brother, you don't like your cousins and all just friends you have for 30 years you haven't spoken because he cheated you in a chess game. Some bullshit. A lot of you motherfuckers out there, just mad at each other for straight up bullshit. And then when that person's gone, oh, he was my brother. She was my sister. It's too late. They can't hear you. They don't see your flowers. They don't hear those eloquent words you're saying at their funeral. It's too late. Say those words to them now. Give them their flowers now before it's too late. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you see it. You see all these people on the internet dying every day from all kind of shit, cancer and, car accident, just leaving this place. So anyway, I just want to say that. Again, condolences to their families. Okay. So I'm going to start out with some questions. The first one is from Mona, 44 years old. I'm glad these people start putting their ages on it. It gives me a better perspective. My boyfriend of 2 years will not spend time with me. Even when I make an effort, he rarely gets with me. I've confirmed that he isn't married, but it seems he doesn't want to spend time with me. Thoughts? Well, Mona, that's pretty easy. Your boyfriend, he's fucking somebody else. It's no, what you want me to say. He's fucking somebody else. You might not be married, but you're not the only person he's fucking. And actually, if you really ask him and he's truthful with you, he probably doesn't consider you to be a girlfriend. You just someone to get a nut. And that's the only time he wants to spend time with you. I guarantee you, every time you guys spend time with each other, you probably fuck. Because that's all you are to him is a nut. You're not his girlfriend. He doesn't want to tote you out in public. He don't want no one to see you. He just want to fuck you. He wants to get a nut off of you and he can't give it his other, other women, other thoughts. That's all you are to him. You're just a nut. So that's why he don't want to spend time with you. He just, unless he's fucking you, unless he want, putting you in the buck. That's the only time he wants to spend time with you. He doesn't consider you a girlfriend. Because any real man had a girlfriend, they would spend time with the girlfriend. If they really cared about the girlfriend, they would spend time with them. The only reason they wouldn't want to spend time with you because they don't really consider you a girlfriend. You're just a nut. So Mona, it's pretty simple. Your boyfriend's fucking somebody else. You're not the only one he's fucking. And you're 44 years old, so I don't know how you look, but you're still young. You still have time to adjust your situation. If you want to get married, then he's not the one. He doesn't want to marry you. He just wants to fuck you. So if you want to get married, I would suggest that you dump this guy immediately. I mean, after right after this show, this episode, right after this episode of the X and Y show, I want you to call him up and say it's over and click and just hang up on his ass. Don't, just say you're tired of his shit and just hang up on his ass. Trust me. He might call you back and try to get with you, but you probably got some good pussy because he keep coming back. But don't let him come back. Just end that shit. I know it's hard. You got to start all over. You got to meet somebody else and establish that level of trust again and all that bullshit, but it's worth it. Because if you don't drop his ass now, you'll look around, you'll be 64, still getting fucked and nothing to show for. So that's my advice to you. Hope you listen. All right. Next person, Stanley's 28. My girlfriend will not marry me until I get a vasectomy. However, I want kids. What should I do? Damn, Stanley. If you want kids, obviously your girlfriend does not. She want you to get your dick clipped. She don't want kids. You do. So you two are not made for each other. You need to end that shit immediately. You're another one. As soon as this episode is over, you need to call your girlfriend. Well, just fuck her one more time. I'm keeping it real now. Don't just drop her. Fuck her one more time. Maybe a couple, depending on how good the pussy is. And then drop her. It's over. Just say whatever her name is. Look, I'm not getting a vasectomy. I want kids. You don't. We're not made each other. Let's just be friends and move on. Period. Again, you had to start all over. You got to meet a girl and blah, 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 and go through the process again of someone, but trust me, you'll be glad that you did that in the long run. What if you get a vasectomy, just fall into it? You want kids and still get a vasectomy. You'll be miserable. Then you'll start taking it out on her because you wanted kids. You did clip your dick for her, and you'll start taking it out on her. And you probably end up getting a divorce in the long run because you taking your anger out on her, and you guys will, not make it in a marriage. Then what? You get a divorce, you got your dick clipped, you still can't have kids. You walk around miserable. So you're still young, you're 28 years old, you need to get rid of her immediately. I would almost understand if you were in your upper 50s or 60s and she's telling you that, and she was a younger woman, in her 30s, and she still can get pregnant, and she already had 3 kids and you got 5 and she didn't want more. I can kind of understand that, and you already had kids, if you had 5 kids already, she got 3 and she wanted, she don't want to get pregnant, blah, blah, blah. I can get that. You already have kids. She has kids. Get a vasectomy, make sure she doesn't get pregnant anymore. I can understand that. But you're young, you don't have any kids, and you want kids. She doesn't. So that's easy, Stanley. You two not for each other, So after this episode, call her up, fuck her one more time, or twice, or 3 times, depending on how good the pussy is, and let her go. Don't cut your dick for somebody else. Don't never do that. Never do that for anyone. All right. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to get on to this evening's episode. Well, the reason why I came up with this episode, I was watching this thing on the internet. You probably have seen it, where they have one single person and they come out and people are holding balloons. And if they like the woman or the single man, they don't pop their balloons. If they don't like them, then they pop them. So I was watching one, and the guy came out and, the women start popping balloons before he even said a word. And, when they went to talk to the woman who popped their balloons, one of the women, this is one of the episodes that I was watching, one of the women, the guy asked her, how many kids do you have? And she said 3. I was like, damn, she did him a favor, right? And he asked her, how many baby daddies do you have? And she said 3. So she has 3 kids and 3 baby daddies. That's fucked up. I'm just, way sugarcoat that. That's fucked up. One mistake, okay, you get a mistake. Everybody fuck up, and nobody's perfect. But 3 mistakes like that? Nah, man, that's fucked up. And she's up there, and she popped her balloon because I remember this one. She didn't like his pants. That's what, it's women out there are some, a woman with 3 kids from 3 different dicks, 3 different nutsacks, they should be willing to get, if the motherfucker has a pulse, they should be willing to get anybody. And a lot of you women that say, what, do you want her to settle? Yes, her ass should settle. Because anyone getting with a woman with 3 kids from 3 different nutsacks is settling. So she can settle too. Shit. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So that's where I get this episode from. I'm not really talking about that, but it's something that really kind of made me think about some things. So tonight's episode. What race is most to blame for our fucked up society? Repeat, what race is most to blame for our fucked up society? Now, for those of you who listen to the XY show, you know that I'm really big on family. 2 household families. I come from a 2 household family, and I turn out pretty good, if I'm not to say so myself. Now, I'm not saying that everyone that come from a 2 household family just is presidential material. I'm not saying that, because there have been some fucked up people come from 2 households, 2 household families. But for the most part, like I say, you always have your exceptions, but for the most part, when a person comes from a house with a mother and a father, they are different. They are different. It's better than coming from a single parent household. Again, I'm not saying if you come from a single parent household that you're fucked up. No. What I'm saying, though, if you come from a single parent household, the chance of you being fucked up is far greater than someone coming from a 2-parent household. That's all I'm saying. And just the statistics prove that. I mean, just cut this shit. When you come from a 2-parent household, you usually come out of a better home, and you're a more positive influence on society. Just cut this shit. You look at the statistics. So I wanted to know what race, and I feel that when you got all these bastards coming out of these single parent households, they grow up, they're fucked up kids, and they grew up and they're fucked up adults. And when they're fucked up adults, then we have a fucked up society. So I'm looking in it deeper and like, what race is responsible for this shit? What race is responsible for this shit? And before I'm moving it forward, a lot of women give me flack because I will not marry or get with a woman with kids. And it's because it's hard enough to, it's so many reasons, but some of the, I've talked about this many times before. It's hard enough to deal with a woman in itself. It's hard enough marriage is not easy. I'm just talking shit. You guys out there who are married, and you know what I'm talking about. Marriage is not easy. So when you bring in a woman, are you marrying her or you marrying a man, whatever, if you're a woman, but I'm speaking from a man's perspective because I'm not marrying a man. And she has 3 kids, like the girl with the balloons with 3 different baby daddies. So in essence, I'm marrying her and I'm marrying those other 3 motherfuckers. I'm marrying 4 people. 4 people at a time. And that's just unfair. You can't, ladies, you can't expect a man to do that. You can't. And a lot of you women are like, I don't need a man to support him, support my kids. I take care of my kids. If we get married, they're my kids. That's some dumb shit. No, they're our kids. That motherfucker that should call these kids motherfuckers. Those little bastards, they're eating my cereal. They're eating my chicken. They're eating my rice. They're eating all my fucking food. I'm buying them clothes. Of course, they're getting child support, I guess. Maybe. A lot of women don't even get child support. So I'm paying for their clothes. I'm paying for their water. I'm paying for the AC to keep their little asses cool. No, they're my kids, too. They didn't come from my nuts, but they're my kids. I'm taking care of them. They're my responsibility. They're living in my house. They're living in my house. So don't give me that shit that they're your kids and I take care of my kids. Don't worry about us. And that's what happened with a lot of families today. Like, you get married and it's all of these sub-families under one roof, And could you imagine a woman having 3 kids from 3 different nutsacks? You got 4 or 5 different families under one roof. And then these little bastards grow up, and the first words when they get out, when they get mad, you ain't my daddy. It's too much shit. I don't want to hear it. It's not worth it to me. I don't have to hear it. It's a lot of women out there with no kids, no children. Why in the fuck would I go with one with kids, with all of these problems, potential problems? I'm not saying some of you have gotten with women with kids, grow up to have a beautiful life, and you live happily ever after. There's always exceptions to the rule. But the potential issue of me getting with a woman with kids and being in a fucked up situation, I'm not going to take that chance. It's not worth it. Fuck that. And I don't have to take it. So you women who get mad at me because I say I won't date a woman with kids, you can kiss my ass. That shit is not worth it. And it's not worth it to many men. So all I can say is, women, those of you who are having kids and shit and not married, better wake up. Women, if you don't have kids, stay that way. Stay that way. Because once you have that kid out of wedlock, your stock goes down. And let's talk about that. Because I'm asking a question, what race is more guilty of fucking up society? Because they're raising all these little bastards out of a single parent household on purpose. A lot of times it's not even a mistake. Sometimes it's like a oops, oh shit. Got a little drunk on wine that night and we started doing some shit without condoms. Okay, I get it. But some of you motherfuckers, and I'm talking particularly in the women, you letting these stupid motherfuckers nut all in you. You're getting these kids, you having them to be in a single parent household. Then they're growing up from a fucked up kid to a fucked up adult. And then when they're growing up and contributing to a fucked up society. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. That kid grew up, well, he can nut in somebody. I never had a daddy, so I'm nutting somebody and move on. Then there's a cycle. You see the cycle? With all these fucked up little bastards walking around. What race is more guilty? Well, let's look at it. So I looked up information. This is according to 2022. just 2 years ago. This shows the percentage of single-parent households by race. All right. So let's see what the percentages are. American Indian or Alaskan Native, 50%. Now that's fucked up. I didn't expect that. I used to live in Alaska, and I didn't expect that. That's 50%. That means 10 families, 5 of those growing up with a single parent household. All right, 50%. Latino, 42%. And I'm saying these percentages because a lot of you automatically believe that it's blacks, right? I'm not saying that it's not blacks, but I'm saying that a lot of you automatically believe that. But there's other races who are fucked up too. That's all I'm saying. It's other races who are contributing to this fucked up cycle. It's not just blacks. I just told you the Alaskan natives and American natives, 50%. That's fucked up. Latinos, you motherfuckers, always, the blacks, that's 40 to 42%. Shit, y'all right behind them. So I'm saying this so you'll get a perspective of who is really guilty. Okay? So I'm not just saying these numbers just to say them. I'm just trying to give you a perspective of who is really fucking up in our society. Who's providing all these bastards that's coming out of single parent households. All right. So American Indian, Alaskan Native, 50%. That's fucked up. Latino, 42%. It's talking about the single parent household by race. 42% Latino. Multiracial, 39%. Asian, 16%. White, 24%. Black, 63%. So black leads it, 63%. 63% of the black families come from single parent household. 63%. Wow. Okay, now let's go a little deeper. We're going to go through the birth rate of children out of wedlock. Out of wedlock by race. Asian, 17%. Now, when I looked up this, I was like, damn, man, maybe we should get me an Asian woman. But you look at Asian families, this, it's low because most of the Asian families, when you see them out in public or the Chinese restaurant and, eating the egg rolls and shit, they have the mom, they have the dad, and the kids. They're together. I've never seen, maybe some of you have, but I've never seen a Asian woman with 2 kids or 3 kids or whatever by herself, and, out at a movie or out to dinner. I've never seen them alone. They always have a husband. Always. And it reflects in their society. It reflects how they raise their children. They don't have, what these numbers mean, they don't have babies out of wedlock. They're not having babies out of wedlock. That's what the Asian families are doing. They are being family. And it matters because you see those motherfuckers out in public. They're different. They're different. And they grew up with a mother and a father. That means they want to provide that for their kids. They want to be there with their wife. They grew up in a good cycle. So, I was like, damn, I need to get me an Asian woman. Shit. Anyway, born out of wedlock, Asian, 17%. Native American, 66%. Now, if you notice, these percentages match it reflects off of the single parent household data. You know, give you an example. The Asian single parents out of wedlock, having babies out of wedlock, 17%. For the percentage of single parent household, 16% Asian. So it really, they have a relationship with each other. You know, because obviously if Asian are not having kids out of wedlock, then they're not being single parent household. So Asian 17%, this is wedlock, out of wedlock. Native Americans 66%, Hispanics 53%. You see how that you know matches with the other one. White 29%, black 72%. Black 72% of the families of the women are having kids out of wedlock. 72% of the black women are having kids out of wedlock. So that means roughly, if there was 10 women, black women, 7 of them are having kids and they're not married. That's fucked up. That is really fucked up, and it's embarrassing. Now, there are other, like I said, the other races, you know, Hispanic, 53%, that shit ain't good either. So you Hispanic people out there clapping your hands, you silly motherfuckers, 53% is not good either. Native Americans, 66% born out of having kids out of wedlock, that's not good either. White, 29%, that's not great, but it's not bad. Roughly, you might just round up to 30%. So out of 10, 3 having out of wedlock. That's not bad. You know, Asian is the best, 17%. Like I said, when I was looking over this data, shit, I want to marry me an Asian woman. Everybody else fucked up. The black women, the white, the Hispanic women, the Alaskans, and Native, everybody else fucked up. The Asian women are the ones marrying people before they have kids. So, and I'm not just talking shit. A lot of you say, "Oh, Roosevelt." A lot of you motherfuckers don't like to hear the truth. So I guess if I ask that question, what race is really fucking up society, I would have to go with the blacks, right? I mean, if I had first place, I would have to go to blacks. They're first place. Having kids out of wedlock at 72%. And then having in single parent households, what was a single parent? 63%. Now, granted, the Hispanics, single parent households, 42%. Out of wedlock, 53%. That's fucked up too. That's a third place. Alaskan natives and native people, 66% out of wedlock, having kids out of wedlock, and 53% single parent households. So the only race, blacks are the worst. That's just cut the shit. Blacks are the worst. But there's other races that are just as fucked up. The best race is Asian. They don't have kids out of wedlock. They don't have single parent households. Why is that? White people are second place. They don't too much have kids out of wedlock. They don't have single parent household as many as the other races. So it's the blacks, the Hispanics, and the Alaskan natives that are, fucking up society. Let's just say it. It's the blacks, the Hispanics, and the Alaskan natives, and the American natives, Indians for you ignorant motherfuckers, who are fucking up society. having these kids out of wedlock, raising these kids in single parent households, raising fucked up kids to be fucked up adults and fucking up society. This is a cycle that is going on in our society. This is why the world is so fucked up. This data, when I was looking this shit up, I was like, damn. No wonder the world's so fucked up. No wonder motherfuckers killing people over $10 or shooting at people for getting in front of them in the highway. Dumb shit. People are losing their lives because these kids, these fucked up kids coming from these single parent households, because women are having kids out of wedlock on purpose. They're growing up from kids to be fucked up adults and fucking up society. So you ask yourself, what race is guilty, most guilty? It's the blacks. It's the blacks. But you can't blame the blacks because other races are right behind them. Hispanics, you motherfuckers don't have anything to clap for. American Indians, Alaskan Natives, you motherfuckers coming in third place. The only ones that have it right are the Asians and the whites. Asians do not have kids out of wedlock. I just told you the data. Whites do, but it's not high. Whites are raising their kids in two-parent households for the most part. Asians are raising their kids in two-parent households for the most part. I mean, you think about it. I've never met an Asian woman who's divorced. Never. I'm not saying they don't exist, right? I'm not saying that. But how many do you know? I mean, I'm just fuck me. How many do you know? How many Asian women or Asian men are divorced? How many Asian women do you know that is having a kid out of wedlock? I'm just asking a question. How I just don't see it. It's rare in white people. I don't see any women. When a woman has a baby, the husband is there for the most part. You're always going to have your exceptions, but for the most part, their husbands are there. Now, you can see a single parent household, because sometimes white women get divorced. So that's why the percentages are a little higher than Asians. But for the most part, those two have it right. Everybody else is fucked up. Blacks, Hispanics, Alaskan Natives, American Indian. Fucked up. Having kids out of wedlock on purpose. On purpose. Raising kids in single parent household. So if I had to answer that question, yes, blacks are the most guilty. And I really didn't realize that it was that fucked up in the black community, where black women are having babies out of wedlock at 72%. I didn't realize it was that bad. That's fucked up. So if I had to say who's most guilty, it would be the blacks. But I'm not going to just stamp the blacks as being the only culprits in this. No, fuck that. It's the blacks, it's the Hispanics, and the Alaskan Natives, American Indian. Those are the races that are fucking up our society. Those are the races who are having kids out of wedlock, having these fucked up kids, growing up to be fucked up adults, and keeping society in a fucked up status. Those are the three races that are most guilty of that. Not hate. It's facts. Look it up. So my question again, what are you going to do about it? And I'm speaking to those specific races, the blacks, Hispanics, and Alaskan Natives, American Indian. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to stop this cycle in our society? Because you have the power. You can have families again. You know, you can have a kid and have a father with that kid. And I'm talking about having a father. I'm not just talking about a motherfucker who's nutting in you is going to give you checks and stuff. I'm talking about a married man who lives in your house. It used to be that way. What happened to that? So what are you going to do about it, ladies? The power is on you. The power is on you. What are you going to do to contribute to stop fucking up our society by raising these kids, having these kids out of wedlock, and raising these kids in a single parent household? What are you going to do to stop this cycle? Anyway, until this cycle stops, society would not be a good place to live. And it's going to take generations to fix it. You know, it takes decades to turn this around. So we have to start now. We have to start now. I won't live to see it. The persons that are listening to this episode, you guys won't live to see it. It's going to take decades to turn that around. When will you start? What are you going to do? Stop contributing to fucking up our society. Stop having these kids out of wedlock. Stop having these kids without a father in the household, a man that is your husband. Anyway, I know a lot of you women don't like what I'm saying, but you can kiss my ass. A lot of you women don't like to hear the truth, but that's what it is. It's the truth. It's the truth. And like the old saying, the truth will set you free. That concludes another episode of the XY Show. I'm your host, Roosevelt. I will see you next week. And I hope you have a wonderful work week and don't stress out too much. You can always catch up on some old inner episodes on my website, which is www.thexyshow.com. All the episodes are there. You can also check out my social media. Follow me. Show me your support. Send me a picture. I'll definitely post it. And you can send me a note as well on my website or my email. Everything's there. www.x1show.com. I'll be more than happy to reply to you. Just send it to me and I definitely will. So without further ado, I will say goodbye and I will see you next week. And I want you always to remember that you cannot have love without X and Y. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.